It's time for a cup of coffee with Will and Chris at Slumberland Furniture. From Slumberland Furniture in Osage Beach, here are your hosts, William Holtz and Chris Schneider.
Oh boy, we have missed you guys over the last week. Of course, that being Uncle Chris and Wild Will, and it's time for another cup of coffee with Will and Chris from right here at Slumberland at the lake. And Chris, this week, did you notice as you're on your way to work, on your way to the show this morning, how vibrant the fall colors are this year?
This year more than any other year. I think they're so gorgeous. I wonder what the difference is, because there's just so much color this year.
Yeah, you're not kidding. So we'll talk a little bit about that, plus that huge development between Camdenton and Lynn Creek. Their developer, Blake Hoditz, he actually announces a little bit of information, doesn't tell a lot, so we'll tell you about our conversation we had with him. Plus, we're going to do an entire rundown of all of the fall festivals and the family-friendly events for you guys to do this week and this weekend with the kiddos. Also, recreational marijuana, is it going to pass? We're going to discuss that a little bit and ask what you guys think of whether or not that should pass come November. Plus, we're going to look back, Chris. Yesterday we had some fun with Coach Shore, and you remember everyone was guessing how far can Will throw a football?
Right.
We got out there. We had some fun, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. You predicted you could throw 50 yards. All the rest of us said no freaking way. So we'll see what happened out there.
We'll see what happens. Also, our hometown hero, and we'll tell you a little bit about that massive brush fire in Missouri, that wildfire that went crazy. I actually was at the Mizzou game Saturday, and they were making announcements about which way not to go because all traffic was stopped down. So you could tell then it was pretty big deal. So we'll tell you about all of that, and of course, we're here at Slumberland, and they've been having that tent sale go on. They've got all kinds of stuff. We rolled in this morning, and they had this massive truck. Couldn't even get in here this morning. It was blocking the way we typically park. So I know they've got lots of furniture, and the one to tell us about all of that is our friend Daryl Cunningham from Slumberland at the
Lake. Hey everyone, Daryl Cunningham with Slumberland Furniture at the Lake. Just want to let everybody know this is the last week of our tent sale. We're going to slash prices even lower to get it gone. Come see us at Slumberland Furniture at the Lake and take advantage of these great prices and help us bring happy home.
Yeah, and come down and see Daryl, everyone here at Slumberland at the Lake. And when you do, don't forget to tell them that Uncle Chris and Wild Will were the ones that sent you down here in the first place, right?
That's right. They love to hear that, man.
They do indeed. And I think they hear that a lot. So we appreciate you making sure you tell them that we're the ones that sent you, which only means that their partnership with Cup of Coffee is working, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you want to see more Cup of Coffee, come down and shop here at Slumberland. All right, so we were talking a little bit about those vibrant colors. And not only this year, Chris, does it look like they're more vibrant, but it's funny because if you're closer to the water, and I'm sure that scientists and almost anyone would know why, but if you're closer to the water, there's so many more varying colors. But when you drive in stretches, like on the way to the show this morning, all I saw were yellows and oranges together in stretches. But on the water, there's all the yellows and the oranges, the reds, the greens still. Do you know why that closer to the water, the colors are so varied?
I would guess it has to do something to do with how the more moisture down there, the higher water table probably. But man, this year more than any other, and I've only lived here at the lake full time for like the last 3 or 4 years, but this year, so gorgeous. It's prettier this year than I have ever seen it anywhere before. It is just stunning out there.
Yeah, the fall foliage, second to none down here at the lake nationally. But also, one thing that always seems to be true is the sunsets here at the Lake of the Ozarks, those colors and those schemes. And so, in all of my infinite ignorance, which it is infinite, there's one thing I know to be true, and that's that the big guy upstairs certainly knew what he was doing.
Yeah, he sure did. That's for sure. You know, and it's funny because when you hear statements from like the big geniuses that say that, you know, there has to be a God because things are just put together too mathematically correct. So yeah, absolutely. It's something special out there. And we just happen to live right in the middle of the most special place.
Yeah, it's the canvas that he likes to paint on the most, I like to say. All right, so this new development, it's going to be our first local story. You know, we've been talking about it the last couple of months. It's a huge deal for the lake area. Right behind Camdenton Walmart, really, between Lynn Creek and Camdenton. this massive development. It's on 2,200 plus acres, and there's not been a single project that's encompassed this much land in the history of the lake, not since I've been down here. And so the developer, Blake Hoditz, he actually announces a little bit of information, a little bit of tease, and Lake Expo put an article out about it. But this development is going to be massive. How close do you think it's coming to actually breaking ground and being done?
Well, we've been talking about it for about a year now, something like that, and it seems like it's still on track. It's still moving forward. It's kind of weird how the developers are still being so secretive about what it is, what they're going to do, how they're going to do it. So like Mr. Hoditz was at the recent symposium, I think a RE/MAX symposium, and so he called it an experiential master planned community, whatever that means.
Right.
It's holistic community that's built to fill the gaps of the community, that it's a unique destination and making it a full-time place to live. Well, those are all nice words, but what does that mean? He says what we're doing basically is putting together a new community. Okay, so we're not getting really any details here.
Right.
And then Lake Expo, as you mentioned, they caught up with him and they said in an interview after the event, Hoditz apologetically said there wasn't much more he could say about the project. So I don't know why they're being so secretive about this. I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be great, but I wish they'd come out and tell us more about it.
Right. Well, I reached out to Blake Hoditz and, on Facebook, and I was like, hey, I saw this Lake Expo article, and can you either come on Cup of Coffee or tell us more, because this really told me nothing. And I don't know if that was by design.
Right.
And I was excited because he messaged me back and said, hey, Will, huge fan of Lake TV. So I was like, great, we got an insight to get this guy on the show. He could come tell all of you guys exactly what's going on. And he goes, listen, my partners are keeping me super busy. We're looking at timing and whether or not we really want to come and do an interview. I'll get back with you. So I followed up with him, and he said, listen, it's just not the time. They're really trying to keep me focused. He said, we're moving forward, and we are so excited about this project. He said, but when it gets to that point in time in the very near future, I will come and talk with you guys on Cup of Coffee.
Good.
And tell you all of our plans and show you renderings and all those great things. And so we anticipate being able to bring on Blake, and I said Hoditz, or Hoditz. Is it Hoditz?
I don't know which it is. Hoditz, Hoditz.
I'll shoot him a message about, listen, we just butchered your name 45 different ways.
Sorry about that.
How exactly do you pronounce that? But this is going to be massive. And when he says its own community, I start to kind of think, maybe we know there's going to be multi-level businesses, not just going to be housing. There's going to be shops, maybe restaurants. But you start talking about community. I mean, with Lynn Creek, as small as it is, it almost makes me think that there might be a lot going into this. And it only increases my excitement about the project, because using those words, experience master planned community, is interesting.
Yeah.
What do you think he means by that?
I have no idea. It's interesting. And it's kind of like, a politician can speak all day and say nothing. That's kind of what he's doing here, an experiential master plan community, a holistic community. Really neat, nice words, but it doesn't really tell us what it's going to be.
Right.
In some of the past stories we've gotten, they had said that there's multi-phases to it. Like maybe the first phase is to bring in some affordable housing. Maybe the second phase is to bring in some businesses and some hotels, something along those lines. But again, for some reason, they're not rolling it out there and telling us what that is yet. But from what we have learned over the last year, apparently they're working well with the city of Camdenton. They've already been kind of incorporated into the city and all that stuff. So I think things are going well. We're just not getting a whole lot of definition of what it's going to be.
2,200 plus acres.
I mean, that's like your kind of acreage, man.
Yeah.
You own half the county, dude.
I own 1.1 acre, 2,200 plus acres. That's wild. So that's a big one. And we'll keep you guys posted on that, because they also said they want it to be a year-round economic hub, and they touched on that when kids graduate high school. Not always a lot of opportunities in their chosen field. Mm-hmm. And so, this is wide open. Who knows what's going to come of this project? We'll keep you guys posted. We'll keep in touch with Mr. Hoditz and try to get him on the show.
And he and his sister are local. They grew up here. I think they went to Camdenton High School and stuff. So they're not weird people from somewhere else trying to rip us off or anything. I don't think it's any of that.
Are you insinuating that people that come from other areas to develop here at the lake are weird people.
Yes, yeah, I am saying that.
Hey, you
Yeah,
weirdos.
absolutely.
We
Hey,
welcome
dude.
all you weirdos.
Yeah,
We
that would
want
make
you
me
to-
a weirdo. 'Cause
We're
I
all
came in,
weirdos. Hey, listen, this guy's really a weirdo.
Boy, you don't even know.
Hey, did you notice the coffee mug I switched to this week?
I do. Where'd you get that?
This is pretty sweet. It's from, I don't know if you noticed, but it's from Pikes Peak, which is in Colorado.
Yeah.
14,115 foot above elevation.
Above sea level.
Or sea level, yeah, elevated above sea level. This was sent from a viewer of Cup of Coffee, Michael Betterton from Colorado Springs, Colorado.
Hey, dude.
They watch their show they watch our show every Saturday morning
Yeah.
from Colorado Springs, Colorado. I get back from my Myrtle Beach vacation and got a message that, hey, you still haven't picked up a parcel we had sent for you guys at the post office. So I went by, and waiting for me was this awesome coffee mug with my name on it. So Michael Betterton from Colorado Springs, Colorado. Thank you, my friend, for watching, and thank you for the thoughtful gift. I will definitely be using that.
I'm amazed at the number of people that watch Cup of Coffee from out of town.
Yeah.
I mean, I know a lot of people here at the lake watch us because they'll tell us when we're out doing something, they'll come up to us and say, I get all my news from you guys on a cup of coffee, right? Which is kind of cool.
I had a lady tell me that my Uncle Chris was so darn cute this
Ooh,
week.
doggy.
And they really think that you're my uncle.
Hey,
You
I know.
It's
I know.
catching on.
Yeah.
They're like, your uncle is so ridiculous. You know, he is so funny. And this lady said he is so darn cute. So I can't disagree.
Don't tell
with-
Mrs. Uncle see that.
Well,
she might get a little
she
jealous.
knows that you're pretty darn cute.
Well, that's
so
true.
we're not breaking the news to her there.
So, yeah, I've got friends in Dallas that watch us every week during the weekend. For some reason, they watch us on the weekend, but that's really cool. Thank you for watching.
We love hearing that. Really makes our day when we're out and about and someone says we love watching. You know, I always tell Unique, I'm like, man, that just made my day.
Yep.
That didn't used to happen.
It's very
you know?
cool.
And so we certainly love hearing it and we appreciate it. All right, so listen, Halloween, it's big. I know a lot of my friends that are older, you know, no shame in it, but man, they love still dressing up, going to Halloween costume contest and going out and partying for the holidays. For me, though, I'm excited because Brinley, who's 2 this year,
Yeah.
she's about the age
And
now.
so cute. She
Yeah.
is just so cute.
I don't mind you saying so either.
Man,
because
she's just a little darling.
and so this year we're getting her dressed up and we're going to be taking her to a couple different trick-or-treating events. Actually, this last Saturday, I want to give a shout out to the folks at Doctor's Landscape in Sunrise Beach. We went out and bought a couple of Monstera plants for the new office.
Yep.
And they were having a fall festival. So we got Brinley's face painted. We got to decorate a pumpkin. We went through the hay maze, got candy. And I actually saw some of my really good friends there. Hugh and Aunt Michelle pulled
Yeah,
in.
we showed up. We didn't know that you were going to be there. We pulled up there, and that was great. That's a neat place.
That is such a neat place, and you just don't know how much is there until you get there. And imagine how much that takes to keep up with all year round.
Yeah.
All those plants and trees and flowers need different amounts of sun and water and soil. And I mean, that's like 2,200 acres out there.
That's big. That's right by that sinkhole by, what is it, TT, I
yeah,
think. out
right
there,
off of
Yeah.
TT over there. And you see it when you drive by, but you just don't realize all the different stuff they have. And I think you guys were actually there to ask some questions about plants you already had.
Yeah, we just had a new flower bed put in at the house, so Mrs. Uncle C was looking at, what kind of plants to put in there and stuff like that. And they were great. Answered all of her questions. It was good.
And is it you or Aunt Uncle Chris or Mrs. Uncle Chris that it has the green thumb?
Not me. It's, well, not really her either, but, that's why we need so much help.
That's why you need so. That's hilarious. Hopefully she doesn't watch because, same with me though. Unique is the green thumb in the house, and she got all those Monstera set up for the office, and we got some mums for outside the studios.
Yeah,
Did you see those?
they look great.
Yeah,
Look
I figured we needed a little color, but those were awesome. So with that being said, that fall festival is great, but I started talking about that because Lake Expo did a great job and put together an entire rundown of all of the different events going on, starting really Thursday. But Ghouls Gathering Halloween Festival, that's Friday the 28th from 6 to 10 p.m. Blue Cat Halloween Bash. We know Blue Cat out there in Roach.
Yep.
This is going to be really cool. Saturday the 29th from 7 to 1 a.m. They're going to have music. They always do specials. That's actually the prime rib night. It's the last Saturday of the month.
And that's kind of an adult thing, right?
Yeah. The Blue Cat Halloween Bash, Lori Knowles Residential Care Halloween Carnival, more of a family deal, Saturday, October 29th, 4 to 8. Of course, you got the annual Halloween on the Strip Saturday.
Yeah.
Let the Goal Times roll with the Lake Ozark Off-Road Park is Saturday. Westlake Christian Church Trunk or Treat is Saturday. City of Lynn Creek annual Trunk or Treat and annual Haunted House is Saturday. One of the big ones, Lake Valley, that huge trunk or treat they do on Saturday. Remember we set up for that last year?
Yeah.
Now you talk about a place where you can go with the kids and spend about an hour to an hour and a half max and get the hookup for trick-or-treating. There's all these booths and vendors right set up along the golf course. It's beautiful. And that's this Saturday. Mecca Farms Pumpkin Patch, super popular Saturday. Captain Ron's 16th Annual Kids Spooktacular.
How cool is that?
Is actually Sunday from 5 to 6:30, and they have their setup lakeside. So you walk lakeside next to the beach, and that's where all the vendors and local businesses are set up to do their trick-or-treating. And even though that's Sunday at Captain Ron's, Saturday at Captain Ron's is the adult costume contest. 4 different categories from individuals to couples to group, and then the best pirate, matey. The mascot at Captain Ron. So they do a cool variety there. That's Saturday. Of course, the Spooktacular is on Sunday. And then the Family Fall Festival at Riverview Baptist. I've heard that gets pretty big. That's Monday, the 31st, actually on Halloween. Now, if all of that was too quick, which it probably was, Will talks fast. Go to lakeexpo.com, and they've got everything broken down with photos, addresses, times, contact information, and so you'll be set for a great weekend with the family and with your kids and grandkids being out of the area. What do you and Aunt Michelle do for Halloween?
We usually just stay in, or go out to dinner with friends. We're not really dress-up people. Like this week we've got the all of us at Lake TV are going to the Lake Area Chamber annual dinner, and they always do a theme, a dress-up thing. I don't do that.
I don't either. I feel kind of bad because everyone gets so decked out, and I always just plain Jane.
Yeah.
All right. So that's your entire rundown, lakeexpo.com if you want to see that more in depth, but there's plenty going on. All right, big topic hits the ballot in November, recreational marijuana. It's medically approved here in Missouri, and over the last year and a half, you've seen these dispensaries popping up.
A lot of them.
They're all over, right?
Yeah.
And so now there's some states, I think there's 13 states already, recreational legal is going to hit the ballot in November. So 2 questions for you, Chris. How do you feel about recreational marijuana in the state of Missouri? And 2, what do you think the chances are that it passes?
Well, from the polls that they've taken early on, it looks like nobody really knows where the polls are. One poll will say no, another poll will say yes. I think it's going to pass just because that seems to be the trend lately of it passing. I personally am not for recreational marijuana. I just think, why do we want more people inebriated on the roads?
Right.
We talk about how bad drunken driving is, and that's terrible. It's a bad thing. Why do we want more of that? Why do we want another stumbling block for our kids? They call this a gateway drug, marijuana, a gateway drug that leads to worse stuff. If that is the case, then why are we opening that door to worse stuff? I understand the medical marijuana. I understand that people in pain, and that's a way to alleviate that pain and help those people. I'm all for that. I think the recreational part of it is going a little too far. And the recreational marijuana people always say, well, why is that worse than alcohol? Well, it's not necessarily worse than alcohol, but you want more of a bad thing? So that's just kind of my view of that.
I always wonder too, because with you mentioned, the inebriating vehicle, down here at the lake especially, not supposed to be able to drive drunk. Doesn't really stop people from doing so. They say 1 in every 3 cars on the road, someone's under the influence behind the wheel of the car.
I never heard that.
And on
That's
top
amazing.
of that, for kids, if they want, especially now, whether it's vape devices, those are illegal for them to get. We know that kids have those.
Oh, yeah.
1 in every 2 kids in your high school locally, whether it's Osage or Camdenton, has one of those disposable vape pens. And so I don't think the legal or illegal makes a difference whether people utilize it. I think what it does is it allows the law enforcement to maybe put their focuses towards bigger issues, and I think the revenue to be created for the city and the state and the federal government off of the sales tax for marijuana would be massive. And right now it's all being done under the table if it's recreational, because obviously you can't get away with it. So there's pros and there's cons, but I'm with you. I do think it passes. My question is, Lake area, how do you guys feel about recreational marijuana? Do you guys think that it should pass, and why? Or do you think that, like you said, Uncle Chris, no, let's not take it this next step. Let's just keep it medicinally where we know there's some benefits, but let's not go recreational. If that's the way you feel, fine. Tell us, and tell us why down in the comments below. And if you're watching the show on TV, go to our Facebook page. You'll see this story cut separately because we're interested to know what our community thinks.
Absolutely.
You know, I know both sides of the ticket. I can see the pros, I can see the cons. And so we're interested about what you guys think out there. All right, so as we move on from marijuana into more important things like Will's throwing ability,
which is quite impressive, by the way.
Let's go ahead and just first and foremost, let's go ahead and show you guys. So you made a prediction, which we're going to show. Coach Shore made a prediction, and I'm pretty sure that crazy Coach Shannon Jolly made a prediction. So let's see what you guys had to say.
We're good to go. I noticed a nice wind's kicking up, which is really going to help because a noodle arm like yours needs a little help like that. Now, what do you have for him?
I've got 38 yards. I'm going to go 38 yards.
Is that how far you think I can throw?
That's how far I think you can throw.
Appreciate you being
Throw that
generous.
way.
Coach
Okay.
Shore, you?
I was actually pretty impressed with your warm-up. You throw a little bit out to the side, a little bit Mahomesy. You know what I mean?
You want me to throw over the top?
Delivery needs to come here. No, you throw it how you throw it. But I do think you're going to get. I think you're going to hit it. I think you're going to get. I think you're juiced up. I think you're feeling good. I think you're going to get 50.
I was surprised that Coach Shore said he thought I could do it.
Well, you know what? You did a couple of warm-up throws before he made his prediction, and he saw how far you were throwing.
That's true.
the ball.
And I told you guys, he didn't follow the rules. I said, you cannot now predict based on my warm-up throws. You got to stick to your initial. And you did. You guessed that 38 yards. But let's tell you a couple other. KB guessed 30 yards.
Yeah.
Ricky guessed 35 yards. And I saw on Facebook, whether it was my personal or Lake TV's Instagram or Facebook, everywhere from Keith Lucas, last week's hometown hero, he guessed -8 feet.
Yeah,
like
I can see that where you lose it behind you.
He said -8 feet or foots or just something funny. And I saw all the way up to 63 yards, which I was like, wow, way to really have some confidence in me. But as we look here, I got to throw 3 different times, and I did okay, right?
You did great. Of course, you had a 50-yard run up to the pass, and you had the 40-mile-an-hour wind behind you, but all that in tow, you threw it, I think, 53 yards.
I did. I threw 53, and just because I knew he was going to say this, the wind was a big factor. But into that wind, I threw about 43, 44 yards, so the wind might help you. But even into that, it could have been that heavy if I could throw 43 into that wind.
I tell you what, I was surprised. You've got a really good arm, a really strong arm to be able to throw it like that. I mean, if I would have tried to do it, it would have been around 30 yards. It wouldn't have been.
Did you see Ricky throwing it?
Oh, yeah. That was. I wish we would have gotten some tape of that.
No, we don't want that. It was greatness. No, he said, I got to warm up. And I was like, I'm not sure warm-up's going to do you anything.
How many days do we have?
Yeah, I'm not hurting as bad as I thought I might be hurting. But 53 yards. Now, we had 2 people. Dennis Weaver.
Yeah, I think, is that
Yeah,
our friend
Waterlock.
Dennis? Yeah.
Dennis Weaver,
yeah, he's
53
cool.
yards. And then my buddy that I went to high school with, All-State player, Jordan Chipley, now in the Kansas City area, he chimed in and guessed 53 yards. So you guys got to shoot us a message on Facebook. Megan's waiting for it. She already got your name.
Wow.
And we'll get you both your Kansas City Chiefs swag prize.
2 winners. How about that?
So,
and Dennis Weaver Waterlock is his company, right? Check him out. That's so cool. That could save you a lot of money down the road.
no doubt. I mean, when it comes to pipes busting, freezing, water leaks, you don't want to deal with that. All right, so our next segment, It's time for the Central Ozarks Medical Center Hometown Heroes, and this week we had a nomination come in from our buddy Matt Burns, and he said, I want to nominate Andrew and Courtney Hall for the Hometown Hero this week. Andrew and Courtney are exceptionally kind and caring people. The Halls serve their communities by helping folks in their hour of need. As professionals, Andrew works as a funeral director and pre-need agent at Allie Holman Howe Funeral Home. Courtney works assisting children and families with the state of Missouri. A few years ago, the Osage Youth Basketball League found itself in desperate need of a leader to take the reins and organize the league. This league allows our children to play basketball close to town, and they were on the verge of closing when Courtney volunteered to help out. She and Andrew have donated countless hours of their time and, I'm sure, a significant amount of their own finances to help keep the league operational for our kids. Courtney frequently provides encouragement and uplifting help to our friends and all of our kids. I've yet to witness an unkind word spoken by the Halls. Many local heroes deserve recognition, but I know no one more deserving than Courtney and Andrew Hall, and that's why Matt Burns wanted us to consider selecting them as our hometown hero. And so absolutely, Andrew and Courtney Hall, for your selflessness, for stepping up, and also, that's so important that Matt pointed out, never says anything bad about anybody.
Yeah.
That's a huge tell right there.
Yeah, it really is. And I can't say that about myself.
Me either.
I'm
If I had $1, for everything I said today, I would have retired already. But seriously, that's a great couple right there doing things for others.
Yep.
Even though it may not benefit them financially, but they're out there serving. And as Matt said, probably giving a lot of their own money to keep that league going. And so not just Matt Burns, but I'm sure there's a lot of parents, a lot of people in this community that feel that way about Andrew and Courtney Hall. And that's why they are this week's Central Ozarks Medical Center's Hometown Heroes. Very cool. Love that segment. Next part, you saw that wildfire going on in
like off of I-70 up there, I think, right?
Yeah, they're going to say off I-70. Firefighters from across the state of Missouri were responding. It was in Cooper County near the town of Wooldridge. It was closed Saturday from the 106 to the 117 mile markers because there was zero visibility. And I saw just today, Osage Beach Fire Protection District said the fire in Cooper County is considered under control. A strong turnout was received from the entire lake area when they were called to be helped or called upon. Cooper County received 4 tankers and 6 brush trucks armed with personnel from the lake area. They arrived at approximately 10 p.m. and worked throughout the night. So we had a lot of our lake firefighters, and that is now considered contained. I saw there was 23 buildings, houses, or structures demolished, damaged, burnt down during that sad deal. Glad it's contained, but just like that, when it gets this windy, see how quick that can happen?
Yeah, dry and windy, that is a bad recipe for fire.
Bad recipe indeed. So glad to see that's the case. All right, now as we move ahead to sports, the Chiefs back on track.
That was a good win for them.
Yeah, and that's a team that was right there. You typically expect that to come down to the wire. They were pretty dominant. McCole Hardman, how about him?
Oh, wow.
2 rushing touchdowns, a receiving touchdown, and for the second straight week, Juju Smith-Schuster over 100 yards. I think he's turning into the clear-cut number 1 in Kansas City. Of course, Kelsey will get the majority of the targets, but Juju's come on pretty strong the last couple weeks.
Yeah, they look good in that win, and they needed that after the Buffalo loss.
And they go into the bye at 5-2 to try to get healthy. Don't be surprised if they don't shop Clyde Edwards-Helaire prior to that trade deadline. A lot of talk about that. Mizzou, it was a dismal win against Vanderbilt. They were up 17-0, very nearly lost. Only good thing, Luther Burden, he had 2 scores, 35-yard receiving touchdown. As you see right there, you got to get him the football.
Yeah.
My goodness, he's dangerous. And then on the jet sweep later in that first quarter, they're going to be at the Gamecocks Saturday. 25th ranked Gamecocks 5-2, and I'm shocked that on the road Missouri's only a 5-point underdog.
Me too, and I didn't realize South Carolina was that good. I mean,
Yeah.
ranked in the top 25.
Local high school, boy, Eldon lost to Booneville. They closed 3-6. They're going to be at Southern Boone. Camdenton, they're 8-1. They lost, of course, in Glendale. They're going to get a first-round bye next week. They'll have the winner of Rolla and Glendale. Probably going to be Glendale again. How about Osage? 6 in a row.
Wow.
They shut out Versailles. They're going to get a first-round bye and play the winner of Buffalo and Clinton.
Yep.
For the Tigers, they're going to be at Fairgrove in California. They've won 3 in a row. Big comeback win against Hallsville. Next week against St. Francis Borgia, who's 5-4. Look out. Now, we don't have time for our pick'ems. Chris and I will do those off camera as we get done here. Lots happening this week on Lake TV. Chris, you got Mayor Michael Harmison.
Yeah, absolutely. Get his backstory, where he comes from, and all that good stuff. You got to check that out.
And no high school football this week. That's going to wrap it up for a cup of coffee with Wild Will and Uncle Chris. Until next week, goodbye and God bless.